Hi everyone, my name is Mary Wishing. Just wanted to introduce myself. I'm starting up this channel because I just look around at American culture and I just have such strong values. I feel like I just want to share them with others. I have amazing friends in my life, amazing mentors, love the Lord, and I just see a lot of aimlessness happening in our culture. I just want to do my part and hopefully helping other people out. My videos are just going to be about different lessons that I've learned along the way, whether it's I've learned them the hard way or I've been taught them and I learned them the easy way. Please follow along if you're interested in watching. So this first video, I just want to talk about the importance of becoming before the opportunity arises, and I'll explain more what I mean by that, and then I'll give some examples. I think the easiest way to remember it is the morning routine starts at night. And that is true across the board for anything that you want to try and start. So, for instance, if you watch morning routine videos where people start talking about what they do in the morning to get their day started, they often say, well, in order to have a good morning routine, you actually have to start the night before. And so, first, this usually means that you'll probably see my dog walking in and out. That's Coco. But this means that you need to have a full night's sleep before you can actually have a good morning. And you want to do your skincare the night before in order to be ready for the morning. For the women who like to do heatless curls rather than heat, you got to start that the night before. And so it's just this idea of you don't want to start the morning routine your morning of, or else your morning's already going to be set back. You want to start it the night before. And I think that that's true across the board with anything that you want. You want to prepare for it before the opportunity arises. The next milestone that you want to reach actually starts before it comes. Abraham Lincoln is attributed to saying, "Give me 6 hours to chop down a tree, and I will spend the first 4 sharpening my axe." And so this is, again, the same thing of just the preparation matters so much before you actually set out on the goal that you want to reach. And here are some examples. For instance, for anybody who wants to be a spouse, like I'm going to be talking from my own perspective here. I thought back in 2023, you know what? I want to be a wife, and I'm not married, but I was thinking to myself, I want to be a wife. I'm not a wife right now, but I think I need to just be a wife in order to become a wife, if that makes sense. Proverbs 18:22 says that he who finds a wife finds a good thing. Well, that means that a man finds a wife in a woman before he actually marries her. He sees that she has the traits of being a wife. That means that as a woman, I need to behave as a wife in order to even be seen as a wife. So I've been thinking about that, and I started changing my ways. I wasn't living terribly, but I also wasn't living very wifely. And so I just took on that headspace, that perspective. Some practical applications would be give your life to God, turn away from sin. You want to gain wisdom so then you can be a steady wife who can support her husband and instruct her children one day. You want to learn what you would need from a man in order to be submissive to him. And after that, you want to wait for the kind of man that you would be willing to submit to. The Bible calls women to be submissive to their husbands, and not every man in the world I would be willing to submit to. So it's worthwhile for me to sit and think, well, what are the actual traits of a man that I would be willing to submit to? And now it's important for me to wait. I don't want to just casually date and foolishly date. I want to purposefully wait for the man to find me who I would be willing to submit to. You don't want to entertain willing and fun prospects who are not your husband. This can be distracting. It's of course lonely at times being single, but you want to persevere through the loneliness and see what it teaches you. You want to learn what it would mean for you to be a helper. I think that submission and helping in secular terms seem really demeaning, but in the Bible, it's actually very uplifting. Women were the crown of creation. They were the final creation, and it's a beautiful role to have. And so just means, what would it mean for you to be a helper as a wife? You want to reflect on the areas where it may be a challenge for you to be a wife and strengthen those weaknesses until you're more comfortable with that. And then surround yourself with godly influences who support you on this journey. So again, the morning routine actually starts at night. The time of being a wife actually starts when you're single. So you do not want to be behaving foolishly when the right man comes around, because then he's not going to find a wife in you. He's a godly man is not going to be seeing a foolish woman and think, "Oh yeah, I want to make her my wife." So you don't want to miss out on a godly man living in your foolish ways, because you never know what's around the bend. You could either miss out entirely on a wonderful man or set your relationship up for unnecessary baggage in the beginning. And why not make a process smooth as possible? You could even miss out on seeing him because you'd be too tied up with the wrong person. And you could easily fall in love with the wrong man. And then when the right man comes along, a godly man comes along who would be a good husband for you, you may not even have eyes for him because you have eyes for somebody else. And you may not even be able to relate to a godly man at all when he comes around if you're not living a godly lifestyle. So anyway, all very important things to think about in terms of becoming a wife. If you want to be a mother, you have to have that also begins before you become a mom. That begins before you even become a wife. The single greatest gift that you can give your children is good parents. And you're in control of the kind of mom that you will be. And you're also in control of who the father is going to be. Your children don't have the choice in either. They don't have the choice of who their mom and their dad is going to be, but you have the choice. And so you want to wait for your husband with your children in mind. You want to learn how to be a good mom before you have the opportunity to become one. This applies to men as well. A woman cannot carry your children unless you give them to her. So just wait until you find the right woman, and wait until you've committed to her in a covenant before the Lord. The timing of everything does matter. Women, you do not want to be messing around with men who would not make good fathers. You don't want to carry their children. You don't want to be forming emotional ties with them that will make it harder for you to leave them. You do not want to be wrapped up in drama when a good future husband and a good future father comes around into your life. So the preparation of being a mom starts before you become a mom. It starts before you become a wife as well. These are important things to think about in your single years. But then it also applies to other areas of life too. This morning routine starts at night. This mentality starts in other areas as well. If you want to be promoted at work, you need to behave as though you already have a promotion before you get promoted. And there are ways to do this. So a promotion comes with an increase in responsibility. You need to show your employer that you have the capacity to take on more responsibility. And there are easy ways to demonstrate this that other people typically aren't willing to do. You can stand out among others pretty simply. And so you can show up earlier and stay later, not drastically, but even just a little bit earlier, a little bit later. You can be a little bit more available than you normally would be. I know that a lot of people have the idea of like, I'm showing up the moment I'm expected to, and I'm leaving the moment I'm allowed to, and my phone's going to be off the rest of the time. The more available you are, the more your employer is going to think of you as somebody that they can rely on. You want to stand out among your peers and do the best job that you absolutely can. And so you can even look around at what are certain areas that my peers aren't performing in, or what are different ways that they are not actually working, and how can I stand out among them. You want to be friendlier and easier to work with. You want to be an addition to the social aspect of the job as well. You want to be an addition to the culture as well, because culture really matters, especially for management. If you want to get promoted to a management position, the kind of person that you are to be around really matters. So be a little bit friendlier, be a little bit more social, network with your bosses, talk with them more, find little opportunities to speak to them rather than avoid them. That way you have more face time with them. Show in any way possible that you have untapped potential and create more value than what they're already compensating you for. That way you can have some kind of leverage of, first of all, they'll think of you as somebody that they can rely on and depend on more. But if you do have the job that just takes, you can always look around, find another job, show what you are willing to do for this employer, show what you'd be willing to do for the employer that you're interviewing for. But the promotion, the behavior of being promoted needs to start before you have the opportunity to get promoted. This also applies to being healthy. If you're not physically healthy and there are certain areas that are within your control, you want to behave as somebody who is healthy in order to get there. So you just want to think to yourself, what are choices that a healthy person would make? I'm not speaking about things that are outside of your control, of course, but certain things that are within your control. What are the areas that are within my control? And how can I act in those ways? So eat well, drink enough water, cut out toxins and inflammatory agents, cut out processed foods, get sleep, move your body, certain things. And you want to start behaving in this way, and then the health will follow. So again, the morning routine starts at night. I'm going to start preparing my body to be healthy, and the health will follow. If you want to be financially stable, you need to behave as someone who has their finances in order for your finances to get ordered. You want to budget, live below your means, track your finances, say no to things, save, invest, pay off debt, all these things. You just want to start behaving this way. That way the opportunity to become financially stable comes around. That way the disciplines pay off. You want to be someone who has a grip on their life, then you want to start acting like you do before you do. Before you end up having a grip, you want to start behaving as someone who has a grip on their life. So establish a routine, reflect on the chaos in your life, and integrate organization. This also applies to if you want to have a clean home. If there is an opportunity, if you live amongst chaos, if you don't keep things clean, you want to start living as though you are somebody who's clean in order to become someone who is clean. I know that this is like duh, but it's true. You don't have to live in chaos. You can implement different lifestyle habits and routines and set up a weekly cleaning schedule. Make sure that you change your sheets once a week. Do the dishes every night. Don't fall asleep with dishes in the sink. Do your laundry every time do your laundry twice a week. Anything like that, whatever different systems can be in place. That way, when somebody comes over to your house, you're not like, oh my gosh, it's a wreck. You'll welcome them on in. I always think to myself, I want to keep my place guest ready. People will start thinking of you as a clean person and think of you as somebody who is guest ready once you've implemented these habits. You don't want to freak out when a guest stops by and say, well, oh my gosh, my place is a disaster. So anyway, moral of the story is you must do the thing before the opportunity arises. The thing is about all of this is it's just simply not fun. In the beginning, it's just really not fun because you're making all these sacrifices that you don't want to make. Your life is changing before your very eyes. You're saying no to things that you normally would enjoy. You may be even saying no to things that aren't bad in nature. For instance, like leaving when the day's done for your job. That's not bad in nature. You're doing exactly what you're showing up when you're expected to. You do the work that you're paid to do and you leave. Me living in certain ways isn't necessarily sinful, but it may not be something where a man would see me as a wife. And so it's like, oh, well, why would I behave as a wife when I'm single? And so there are certain things where it's just like frustrating at times, but there's a lot of growth in that frustration. It does feel unnatural, but you'll be more prepared once the opportunity arises, once the next step comes around. And you'll be so thankful that you've taken those times of preparation. In order to level up, you need to make sacrifices that the people around you will not understand. There's a lot of people who are not willing to make the sacrifices that you should make in order to level up higher than you normally would have. You'll just increase your opportunities way higher if you're willing to sacrifice more. And you want to stand out as much as possible. There's an FBI hostage negotiator named Chris Voss, and he said, when the pressure is on, you don't rise to the occasion, you fall to your highest level of preparation. And I just think that that's such a profound and interesting quote. And I think that this is true not only when the pressure is on, but when the opportunity arises. You don't rise to the occasion because if it's something that you've never done before, if I have never behaved as a wife before, how would I have any idea how to behave as one when the opportunity arises? If a promotion comes up at work, how would I ever have any idea how to rise to the occasion if I've never acted in that way before? If I've never put in extra time, if I've never been more available than normal, how would I ever know how to rise to the occasion? And how would my employers even see me as somebody who would be capable of taking on that role? So I just really like that. I really like this quote. I think it's important to think about just what is your highest level of preparation? Can you make that even higher? So moral of the story is just prepare now for whatever it is that you want to do. Evaluate your life. What is it that I want to do with my life? What's the next step that I want to take? What's the next milestone I want to reach? And start preparing now. Be ready for when the opportunity does come. Be the thing before you can actually be the thing. And that will set you up for so much more success. It's going to feel unnatural. It's going to feel unfair in some ways. It's going to sometimes even feel like a waste of time because you don't know how long you need to do the preparation before the opportunity comes. But it will absolutely pay off in dividends when it does come along. So just keep that in mind. The morning routine actually starts at night. Thanks for watching.